Hey everyone, it's Greg Beckham. Welcome to New Life Perspectives. In this webinar, you're going to learn simple and powerful new ways to shift the world around you, starting from within yourself. You know, how we see the world determines how we respond to it, and our responses are what creates our lives. You've probably all heard the old saying, he sees the world through rose-colored glasses, so everything looks just great for him. And usually, when someone says this, they're saying it sarcastically. But the funny thing is, it's true. You really do see the world through your own glasses. And let's face it, wouldn't you rather see things in a better way? Well, the good news is, you can. You just have to choose to do so. Now, I know that sometimes this choice doesn't come easily, and unfortunately for many of us, those glasses aren't rose-colored at all, and in fact are often dirty with the grime of our own bad experiences. So today, you're going to learn new ways to help you make that choice easier, and someday, without even thinking about it. Over the past 30 years, I've studied and practiced many belief systems. Some mystic and spiritual, some conventionally religious, some philosophical or New Age, you might call them. But I began my studies not only unwillingly, but informally, spending at least one period every day from 4th through 9th grade in a religion class at a Catholic school. And all of this shaped how I experience the world. And each of us has a similar story with our own particular details. Take a minute and think about what your story is. You have a paradigm, a foundation, a set of beliefs that you grew up with and that were presented to you that you now carry out into the world. Some of you might have rebelled against it and created another story, but we all have a story nonetheless. In my book, Manifest Destiny, How the Stories We Tell Ourselves Shape Our Lives, I explain the importance of stories and how they pave the way for a predetermined future, and that to change it, we have to start with ourselves and how we see reality and respond to it. In recent years, I had the good fortune to study the work of some of the great masters in the fields of human potential, both directly and indirectly. People such as Tony Robbins, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, and Deepak Chopra, just to name a few. And through these studies and experience, I've learned a lot about what we are capable of, if we apply ourselves in the right way. So that's what today's webinar is all about. It's about opening the door to removing barriers that keep us from our desired destiny, that keep us from the things we really want in our lives, that keep us from fulfilling our lives in the best way possible. Most of our barriers in life are self-imposed. The biggest, strongest, and toughest barriers to our happiness and success are often those that are in our own minds. I know, everyone wants things to be easy, right? What makes anything difficult is first and foremost our willingness to do it. That's not to say that other difficulties won't arise in the process or get in our way later, but the first hurdle is always ourselves. And the first hurdle of ourselves is our willingness. Do we really want to do this? If we don't really want to do something, the chances are we're not going to try really hard to do it. Everyone wants to have a magic pill to make things better, right? Wouldn't it be great? It would be so easy that way. In fact, if I told you that I had a magic pill that could change your life and bring you all of the things that you ever wanted and ever could desire, wouldn't you take it? I know I would. I know some of you are thinking, well, okay, wait a minute, what's the catch? That's a lot of BS or something like that. But in fact, there really is a magic pill. You just have to swallow it so that it can get into your bloodstream and start working and become a part of your system. You have to use it as it was intended to be used, and then it'll work. If you take the pill and spit it out, it's not going to work. And if you don't take it at all, you just leave it on your desk or in your pocket or something, it's not going to work either. So what do? You take the pill. So, now here's the magic pill: information. We get it all the time. Question is, do you take it? You know, a lot of us have been to self-help seminars and self-help gurus or get-rich-quick seminars, internet marketing seminars, network marketing seminars, and I would bet you that you've noticed that for the most part, they're all really good. They have a great amount of useful information and in many cases, some great practices that you can put to work for yourself too. In fact, when you leave, you probably have all the juice and excitement you need to go out and become that next internet millionaire or overnight success, and the practices to go along with it. But the reason, if there is one, that we're not the next internet millionaire or real estate magnate is probably not because the information or practices weren't good. More likely, it's because we didn't use the information the way it was intended. We didn't take the pill. After reading the label and all the potential side effects, and then imagining what our lives could be like if we took it, we just put it in our pocket or on our desk and forgot all about it and continued to go about our day business as usual. Well, this webinar, New Life Perspectives, is going to help you change all of that. You'll be able to see all of those programs you've bought, all of that self-help work you've done, all of that learning you've invested tons of time, effort, money, emotion, come to life in a new way through new perspectives. And once you incorporate new life perspectives into your lives, you'll be able to shift your life in ways you did not know were possible. Remember, the one thing that all of your successes and failures have in common is you. It's the one thing that's always been the same in all of the self-help systems, all of the seminars, all of the work you've done, all of the books you've read, all of the programs you've studied, the churches and groups you've attended. The one thing that they all have in common is you. Now, let's get started. What is a perspective? Well, a perspective is the angle or place from which you see the world around you. It's kind of like your window to the world. Or, like we said earlier, the color of the lens with which you see the world. The color of the glass is going to color your experience. It changes how you see the world by looking through new or different windows. It's actually why each of us are capable of seeing things so differently. Some of us see this glass as half full. Others see it as half empty. Now, whether you see it as half full or half empty doesn't mean you're either positive or negative person, because all this depends on your motivational strategy. For example, some people think that they'll see the glass half full and say, oh my God, I still have to drink another half to be finished. And others will say, well, it's half empty. I'm almost done. So just think about it. What's your motivational strategy? Does it change depending upon the situation you're in? Do you tend to lean one way or another more often? This could be good information for you in helping you determine your perspectives. Some perspectives allow us to see things from a wider viewpoint and can actually expand our knowledge and capabilities. When we see things from this place, everything can shift because now we're seeing how we might approach things from a different place. Then there are perspectives that limit our vision and what we can see. This can be a good thing. Limited vision can be good or bad, right? Sometimes we need to limit our vision so that we can focus on something. And other times that focus or limited vision can keep us locked into unwanted behaviors or thought patterns, such as addictions or bad habits or things that we don't really want to do anymore. Also, limited vision can help us from seeing things that are distractions or that will draw us into bad behaviors and things we don't want to do. So focused vision can be helpful in this way. This is the amazing shift that will happen in today's webinar. You'll learn ways to control your perspective. If you change the way you see the world you see will change. Things happen in cycles, and in order to change what happens, we've got to change how we get there. The way that we do things in the world is we think, feel, act, think, feel, act. So you can change any one of these components in this cycle, and you'll most likely get a different outcome. For example, if you change what you think about something that happened to you, you're probably going to change how you feel about it too, which may then allow you to act differently than you did before. Also, if you change what you're going to do about something or how you act, you may even change what you think about something, and that'll change your whole cycle, because here's how it works. You think about something, you respond to it, and your response is a feeling. Then you feel something, and you respond to it with an action. Then you take some kind of an action to respond to it with a thought, so on and so forth. So changing any one of these elements can change the outcome. This is the framework of what you're going to be learning today. So just keep in mind that changing a perspective can change an outcome. So if you change any of the elements we've talked about in this frame, you can make fantastic shifts in your life and even learn how to help life bring you all the things you truly want. And now, the new life perspectives are invaluable tools for having a healthy and harmonious life. Originally assembled by NLP founders and developers Richard Bandler and John Grinder, this has been an expanding list over the years. I know you're going to be able to employ these principles in your wellness and benefit program, and to the benefit of those that you love, you can share them with them. You might even be able to add to them over the years that you incorporate them in your life. Do put them into your life system. Make them foundational to the way that you live your life. So the first things that you think are the new perspectives, the new life perspectives that you learn today. Put them into your bloodstream so they become second nature to you, so you can do them automatically or anytime you want. Anytime you need to draw on these resources, they'll be there for you. Along the way, you're going to find that there's some exceptions to these perspectives, but it's probably just a case of different context. They're very useful starting points for any kind of communication, both with yourself and with others, and for your own personal, spiritual, emotional, and physical evolution. These new life perspectives will help you align your mind, body, and spirit with each other in a very, very healthy way, and also help you change the world by being a great example to others. Now, look at this picture. Behind every behavior is a positive intention. Look at that cute puppy eating this sandwich. How many of you would think this puppy's doing something bad? To you and I, who may have made the sandwich for our lunch, we probably didn't want to share it with the puppy, but the puppy's intent is simply to eat that yummy, yummy sandwich. So to the puppy, it's not bad behavior, it's just lunch. Even the most seemingly bad behavior comes out of an individual's desire to do something good or to benefit themselves or someone they love, though sometimes the behavior isn't in one's best interest or one's general life ecology. But any behavior has at least one positive purpose, which is to achieve something of value or a benefit in some way. You've got to think of it that way. What's the positive purpose here? When a person has a better choice of behavior that gives them the same outcome or a better outcome, they're probably going to choose that. I don't think if there was a bowl of dog food sitting next to the sandwich that the puppy would eat the dog food first, unless he liked the dog food better. I know I'd rather have the sandwich. Now, there is no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. Wow. This is really powerful. Think about it. Failure has such a negative connotation as opposed to the feeling, which is feedback. This actually gives you a permission to try again. We're all experimenting in life and learning as we go along. We just hope we don't blow up the universe or ourselves along the way. If you're not getting the result you want, you got to change one or more of the elements in your formula so the outcome will change, right? Remember? There is a way to figure out what change needs to be and then to figure out how to do that change. We're going to teach you things in this webinar today, informational principles that will help you learn how to pinpoint these things and where to take action. That's what these new life perspectives will help you do. People already have all of the resources they need. You know, our minds are amazing. They hold the key to everything we need in our lives to live a happy, successful, and fulfilling life. Our job is to just find the right path to that fulfillment. There are no unresourceful people, only unresourceful states of mind. I'm going to repeat that. There are no unresourceful people. There are only unresourceful states of mind. So, repeat after me. Say it with me here. There are no unresourceful people, only unresourceful states of mind. Think about that. What this means is that you are capable and equipped with a vast array of inner resources to deal with whatever circumstances come your way. You really are. The unconscious is everything that is not in your consciousness at this present moment. And it contains all of the resources you need in order to live in balance and harmony and have your life be the way you want it to be. You just have to find the pathway there. The key is in your pocket. The element in a system that has the most flexibility will have the most influence. This is another great one. Think about it. The water shapes the rocks, not the other way around. The rock sediment is the closest version of flexibility that rock can ever experience. It basically gets decimated and turns into sand, while the water is naturally changeable and flexible, shifting and taking the shape of whatever it washes up against. This is because the element with the most flexibility has the widest range of motion. Mind and body are a system interacting and mutually influencing each other. It's not possible to make a change in one and not have it affect the other. So when we think differently, our bodies will change. When we act differently, we change our thoughts and our feelings, and even the world at large in some degree. So keep this in mind. They're not separate. They're all interdependent upon each other. Thoughts, actions, feelings, thoughts, feel, act, thought, feel, act. They're interdependent, and they work with each other. Every behavior is useful in some context. For example, there are times and places where food rationing is not only useful, but necessary. In today's world, there may still be places where food rationing occurs, but in most of our lives, we don't have a need for it. That's not to say that in some contexts it's not applicable, but there are really no completely random behaviors which have no significance. So think about it. All behaviors serve some sort of purpose in some context, even if that purpose is not very important or if it's even unknown at the time. Some behaviors are even just leftovers from what used to be useful. For example, my grandmother lived both during World War I and World War II in Germany, and during that time, it wasn't unusual to ration food. This behavior was so ingrained in her that even in the 1990s, before she died, at restaurants, she would take the little packages of butter, jam, and sugar from the restaurant tables home with her. When she left the restaurant, she'd have pockets full of these things. Now, this behavior may have been very useful during the war, but today, it's really not a necessary behavior, and in fact, I'm sure the management wouldn't appreciate her running off with pocketfuls of their condiments. People always make the best choice they have available to them at the time. Again, think about this. It doesn't always mean it's the best choice overall. It just means that at the time, if you knew the outcome of everything you attempted in your life, wouldn't you always choose what you felt was best for you? A person always makes the best choice they can given their map of the world and their life story. The choice may be self-defeating, bizarre, evil, or whatever, but for them, it seems like this is the best way forward in their life right now. So given a map or story with a better or more choices, they'd probably take it. Again, people always make the best choice they have available to them at the time. That's one of the reasons why sharing this information with other people and helping to inspire other people to look outside of the box for themselves is really important, because we can shift the world by making a shift in ourselves and helping someone else make a shift in themselves and in their lives. People work perfectly. Take a look at this beautiful sunset. Would you say that this sunset isn't perfect? It sets each day in the exact way it's supposed to. The only difference is how we see it, or what our perspective of it is, how we experience it. So, everything has a system and follows a path or method of its own. How we see it is what makes it perfect or imperfect, what we think is perfect or imperfect. It's just a matter of our perspective. So what would happen if you began to see something as perfect that formerly you didn't see as perfect? Especially if it was something that was holding you back or keeping you from achieving some happiness or sense of love or harmony in your life. Think about it. People work perfectly. We are perfectly what we are in every way, and we became so as a result of all of our experiences and the responses we have to them. This is how we form our emotional DNA, like I like to call it. Again, no one is wrong or broken. People simply carry out their learned strategies perfectly. Sometimes those strategies can be poorly designed, ineffective, or harmful even, but nonetheless, they are our strategies. What's that tell you? It tells you that we can change them too. But people work perfectly. Choice is better than no choice. I think we would all agree with that. It's always better to be able to choose, even if you decide not to. It's a good idea to have a story for yourself that gives you a wide array of choices in life. The more choices you have, the freer you feel, the freer you are, the more influence you have in your system or in your life, your family, your work. Having more choices equals flexibility. You can come out and do all kinds of different things because you have more choices available to you. And you have to feel like you have more choices available to you. So that's something that you want to try to do, is think that you have more choices than what you might initially imagine. Just about anyone can learn to do just about anything. We all possess similar and amazing qualities to learn and adapt. So modeling successful behavior leads to excellence. If one person can do something, it's possible to model it and to teach it to others. In this way, everyone can learn to get better results in their own unique way. When you model something, you don't become a clone or a copy of the model. You get your own learning, and in your own individual way, you create resources that you draw upon and that you use to innovate or create whatever you want. And if it happens to be creating the same thing that someone else created, yeehaw. Bottom line is, anyone can learn to do just about anything. The map is not the territory. The map is not the territory means it's just a representation of the territory, just as a picture of something is not the object itself. No one knows what reality actually is. People simply respond to their own personal experiences. Though we do share many common stories with each other and common experiences, it's through our senses and beliefs and our stories of past experiences and future ideas that we create this map of the world and the story of our lives. And this is what we bring forward into life, what we share with people. People always want to share their experiences and say, hey, this is how it went for me. It can go this way for you too. Just do things the way I did. Well, that can work for some, and in some contexts it won't work at all because, again, the map is not the territory. A map is basically just a representation of an experience or a roadmap to tell you how to get somewhere. Actually, being on the road there is very different. The meaning of your communication is in the response you get. I love this one because it speaks to the idea that how you are seen is how people will respond to you. The way to measure your success of your communication with others and with yourself is in the responses you get. How you are perceived by others is how they're going to respond to you. It'll be how they perceive you according to their story of you. The way you are understood is the measure of what you're saying. For best results, you want to use language which will reach others. For example, when in Greece, speak Greek. Again, people see you how they see you, not how you see you. So keep in mind how you are perceived by others is how they are going to respond to you. You know, if you're walking down the street and you're carrying an axe and there's a family of people walking alongside you, they're going to see you as a guy walking down the street with an axe. Now, the creepier you look, the scarier it's going to be for them. And even though you might not be a creep, they're going to see you that way and they're going to respond thus as well. So just keep this in mind. How you are perceived by others is how they will respond to you. And it just doesn't mean the people walking down the street. This goes for the world, for society, for industry, for family, for anything out there in the world that has the ability to experience you. It will experience you the way they perceive you. So the meaning of your communication with them is in the response that you get from them. Anything can be accomplished if you break it down into small enough chunks. This is one of the most empowering perspectives you can embody. As evidenced by some of mankind's greatest accomplishments, just think what you can do if you're not overwhelmed by the magnitude of a task. It's probably appear even simple if it's broken down into small enough parts. It's how all learning is done and how all of man's greatest achievements, monuments and statues, artwork, all that sort of thing, development of technology, all of this has been performed by breaking things down into small enough chunks. One brick at a time, one block at a time, one number at a time. You are always communicating. So just think about this and look at this picture. You can't not communicate. So just forget about cutting yourself off or withdrawing or being silent, because all of these things are in fact communicating something. You are always using all of your senses to make and receive communications. Again, you are always using all of your senses to make and receive communications. It may look like these two are not communicating, but they are certainly telling each other something. I know I'd be, if I was sitting there, I'd be getting some kind of message. Only 7% or so of communication is verbal. So even when you're not aware of it, your eyes are still seeing things, your ears are hearing things, your body's feeling. All of the stimulus in your sensory periphery and your unconscious is getting a message. It's getting a communication. So you're always getting input, even when you're not aware of it, or even if you think you don't want it, if you're trying to ignore it, you're still getting communications. Symptoms are communications about needed action. Wow. Just think about this. This is a really important one. I want to reach out to everyone here and just think about this. Symptoms such as pain, anxiety, depression, cold, all that kind of stuff. Those are all communications about some kind of needed action. When you're in pain, you want to shift. When you're in anxiety, you want to do something. When you're depressed, you want to feel better. When you're cold, you want to get warm. When your body has a cold and you have a virus, it's fighting something off. These are just communications telling you that there's some kind of needed action. Your body's telling you something that you need to do in order to take care of itself. So again, symptoms are indicators that something is out of order and it needs attention. This is true for your feelings and emotions as well as your physical body. This is an area where you can exercise your skill and become proficient at navigating life. Very often, illness and disease can be traced back to a pattern of thinking that produces feelings and behaviors that bring about the illness condition or disease condition. So just think about this. This is Exactly what happens when you get triggered. Thoughts happen, you feel something, and you behave. It also happens, it triggers illness and sickness. Not only producing chemicals in your body and your brain that can cause illness, but it causes behaviors that can cause illness. Smoking, drinking, drugs, bad eating, overeating ice cream and cheese, There's a lot of research these days. MRI and PET scan technology clearly demonstrates in scientific trials that negative thoughts create stress chemicals in the body, and happy thoughts produce positive chemicals in the body. These chemicals affect the body in different ways. Stress chemicals can cause your body to create all sorts of ailments, illnesses, disease, while these healthy chemicals not only create wellness, but in some instances, they can even heal these ailments, illnesses, or diseases. This is where the miracle comes into it. In all of these miracles, people actually create the chemicals in their body because of what they think, feel, and do. We are responsible for creating our own experience. Now, of course we are. Who else would be? After all, it is our experience, right? When we adopt this perspective, we can experience an incredible paradigm shift in which we become the empowered creators and directors of our lives. Don't think that this means that it's all up to you. Rather, this means that your experience is created by your responses to life. You still have to rely on what comes at you. Life's going to deal you a hand. You have to make the choices. But to know that you're responsible for it empowers you in a way that you can't be empowered by if you keep blaming others or always thinking that life has got it in for you or the circumstances are bad. You just dance with it. That's what you do. When the life throws something at you, you dance with it, you move through it, move past it. Once we take responsibility for our lives, we have then learned that our life manifests through responses we have to the world. It's the story we tell ourselves of who we are. Now, all of a sudden, we can decide what we're going to have happen in our lives. And yes, we still have to live within our circumstances. We still have to live in the world and with others and the wills and experiences of all those other people in the world. But we can decide how we will respond to all of it and how we're going to participate or avoid certain situations and circumstances. Energy flows where the focus goes. This is really important. People forget about this all the time because the brain is just doing its job, telling you things, giving you thoughts, one after another. But you are the gatekeeper of your mind. Your brain's just doing its job. Keep that in mind. You are not your brain. So when I say energy flows where the focus goes, let's think about this. Your attention is your currency with life and the universe. If you focus on what you want, you'll begin to create circumstances that will allow for it to happen. Same thing goes for what you don't want. The energy of your desire engages where you focus, and then you begin to create what you're supporting with that focus and energy, good or bad. Your attention is the only thing that you really have. Again, it's the only thing that you really have, actually, and no one can take it away from you. This is why it's so precious and so important to remember that if you are focusing on things that you do not want, you are giving away your most valuable possession to things you don't want. You are giving your attention to things you don't want. It's really why we get annoyed or irritated when something we have to do that we don't really want to do. But who wants to take out the trash? Who wants to pay attention to taking out the trash? Well, if you think about it, paying that little bit of attention to it in the moment that it's needed will help clean up things in your life. And that actually has symbolic meanings in your life too. Keeping things in order, keeping things the way that you want them. It's a paradigm by which you can live. Well, these are the new life perspectives. And by embodying these and incorporating them into your life and thinking, you will change your life. not only your life, but you'll change the lives of those around you and your loved ones. And hopefully, they will learn from you some of these perspectives, and pretty soon we will have a world full of people who have a new life perspective and can help create a new world for us to live in. Here's 3 simple if you don't rules to follow in life that'll always work to help you achieve your goals. And they are this: if you do not go after what you want, you will never have it. If you do not ask, the answer will always be no. If you do not step forward, you will always be in the same place. What makes you different can ignite the passion in those around you. These new life perspectives can help you ignite the spark of creativity and consciousness in those around you and make your little corner of the world a great place for yourself and your loved ones. So don't be afraid to share what you've learned here. You may just help someone else change their life. There is much more information available on my website at gregbeckham.com, on my blogs about these and other ideas you can use in life, like that magic pill. And remember, that magic pill is so important because it's real. It actually works. If you take the pill and digest it, get it into your bloodstream, make it a part of your system so that you don't even have to think about it, it'll make you and your system a little more flexible so that you can achieve more in your life. Again, if you visit my website, you can also listen to recordings of my past blogs and talk radio show episodes, which are full of information about this and all kinds of other topics. There's some great things in there and some great magic pills. You can also get a copy of my book, Manifest Destiny: How the Stories We Tell Ourselves Shape Our Lives. It's also available on Amazon.com and in Kindle format, and of course at all the other online retailers. I wanted to congratulate you on being on your personal path to the life you really want. There is nothing better you can do for yourself and your loved ones than to walk your path to a happy, fulfilling life. It's important for me to leave you with my favorite quote of all: as you think, so shall you be. I'm Greg Beckham. All the best to you.